Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News. It is May 24th, 2026. And ladies and gentlemen, Barcelona are working on the contract extension of Patricio Pacifico. Also, Barcelona's heavily scouting an Arsenal defender currently on loan with Porto. And finally, Pau Cubarsi, one of the favorites to win the Golden Boy this year. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel. My name is Boo, and welcome to the Barca News Defenders Edition. I didn't do this on purpose, but today there's a lot of news about defenders. So in this video, we're only gonna be talking about defenders, starting with our own, one of the most promising defenders in the entire planet, Pau Cubarsi, because our youngster is in a strong position to win the Golden Boy Award during this year. Now, the Golden Boy Award is, an award, as the name suggests, given out by the Italian publication Tuttosport to the best young player. This is an award that has been won by several Barcelona players in the most recent years, including Pedri, Gavi, and Lamine Yamal. And while Tuttosport have released a preliminary list of the 100 candidates, and Pau Cubarsi is leading the charts right behind Lamine Yamal, who cannot win the award again because per the rules of the Golden Boy, no player can win it twice. So in first place is Lamine Yamal, who cannot win it again. So that, of course, leaves Pau Cubarsi in a very strong position to win this award, which if he does, he'll become the first defender in many years to win it. Not defender ever. Defenders have won it in the past, but of course, this is not an award that's usually won by defenders. But if he does, of course, he would be more than deservedly so, because Pau Cubarsi, at only 19 years old, has already featured 140 times for Barcelona, becoming a main staple in Hansi Flick's defensive system. Now, Pau Cubarsi does have some stiff competition from other youngsters like Warren Zaire-Emery, Yon Diomande, Estebao, Luka Vaskovic. The list goes on and on and on. For now, he's leading the chart, but of course, the World Cup can change things, because if any of these youngsters has an incredible World Cup, it could change the race or the charts. But let's hope that Pau Cubarsi remains the top, and let's hope he wins this award, which has been won a lot by Barcelona, because of course, if there's any big club that promotes young talent, well, it's our own. Now, speaking of young, talented defenders, Barcelona are currently in negotiations to extend the contract of Patricio Pacifico. Patricio Pacifico is, of course, that Uruguayan left back that Barcelona signed this past winter transfer market on loan from the Uruguayan club Defensor Sporting. Someone that immediately adapted to Barcelona. In fact, his coaches and the staff were incredibly surprised about how fastly he adapted to a Barcelona style of play, how professional he was, and how he immediately became a leader on and off the field despite his short time with the team. But of course, unfortunately, tragedy hit the player when I think he tore his ACL. Can't remember which ligament exactly he tore, but he tore a ligament in his knee, and he will be out for an entire year. Now, Patricio Pacifico's loan with Barca is only until the end of this season. There was a clause in his contract where if he featured at least 10 times with Barca Athletic, he would that clause would be automatically triggered and he would become a permanent player of Barcelona. He had played 7 times only, so he was 3 matches away from triggering that clause when this tragedy hit. But despite that, Barcelona want to keep this player because they think he is, very talented and has a lot of promise. So they're now in talks, advanced talks with Defensor Sporting, to extend the loan until next summer of 2027. And that way, he can continue playing once he recovers. It's expected he'll recover around March or April of next year. So that would leave him 2 more months once he's recovered to continue impressing. And if he does, of course, then Barcelona then would sign him on a permanent transfer. Anyway, speaking of contract renewals, let's talk about one that is all done and pending signatures, because, ladies and gentlemen, Barcelona have reached an agreement to extend the contract of Andreas Christensen. Now, as you know, Christensen's contract expires at the end of June, on June 30th. Barcelona decided to extend his contract because Jan Laporta was very thankful with Christensen that he arrived during a difficult time for the club. He arrived as a free agent, and given that Christensen has been injured for the past 2 seasons, Laporta didn't want to leave him hanging, so he decided to offer him a contract extension. Why? That's beyond me, even though I just told you the why, but that's an incredibly stupid why because this is not a charity. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. Barcelona offered Christensen a contract extension for 2 more seasons with a reduced salary where he would earn half of what he's earning right now. But the more he plays, in other words, the more if he stays healthy and he can play more, then his salary would rise with more matches that he would play, with eventually the salary matching what he currently owns. Now, Christensen initially was not in favor of accepting this. He even tried to negotiate a higher salary. Barcelona told him this is the final offer. There's not going to be any other one. You either take it or leave it. And well, it looks like Christensen has accepted this. So now Barcelona and the player are finalizing the last few details of the contract with an announcement expected to come pretty soon. Now, of course, I've made my opinion very clear on this one. I think it's pretty dumb. I mean, don't get me wrong. Christensen, amazing defender. Whenever he was healthy, I thought he was incredible. But he's been injured for 2 seasons. And it doesn't matter how good you are. If you can't play because you're injured, what's the point? But anyways, looks like it's happening. So it looks like Christensen will stay with us for 2 more seasons. Let's hope and pray and wish that Christensen remains healthy for the next 2 seasons. That way he can help Hansi Flick and the team achieve more trophies. Now, speaking of defenders, I told you this is a defense edition video. Let's talk about a defender that Barcelona have been heavily scouting throughout this whole season as an affordable alternative to Bastoni, and it's no other than Jakub Kiwior or Kiwior, I don't know. Let's just call him Jakub. That's easier. If you don't know who Jakub is, he's a 26-year-old left-footed center back who is currently has a contract with Arsenal but is on loan with Porto until the end of the season. There is an option to buy in his contract worth 17 million euros, which Porto is expected to activate, and therefore most likely Jakub will become Porto's permanent signing this summer transfer market. Now, Jakub is, like I said, a left-footed center back, but he could also play as a left back as a defensive midfielder, so a very versatile defender. And he's someone who's comfortable playing from the back. And it's reported that Barcelona have been watching him throughout this entire season, with clubs' representatives traveling to Portugal several times throughout the season to watch him up close and, produce reports about whether this player could be a good fit for Barcelona. Now, Barcelona are reportedly keeping Jakub as a affordable alternative. So if the Bastoni signing doesn't happen, then they can always sign him. Of course, the Bastoni signing is completely on hold because Flick has asked the club to fully focus on the center forward position. Flick knows that's going to be a big investment, which most likely is going to take up the entire or most of Barcelona's budget. And he prefers, if Barcelona are going to blow their money, to blow it on a center forward. And if there's enough money left, then we can think about a center back. And well, Jakub could be one of those center backs, because if we do make a heavy investment for center forward, it's unlikely that we have any that much money left for someone like Bastoni, who Inter Milan are asking for 70 million euros. Now, speaking of Bastoni, let's end the video with some updates in regards to the Italian, La Gazzetta Sport, which is a Italian media outlet, are reporting that looks like Real Madrid are seriously interested in Bastoni. It looks like Jose Mourinho, who will be their next coach, has requested the signing of Bastoni. So we'll see whether the player cedes to that, because he had initially mentioned that he's only considering 2 options, either going to Barca or staying at Inter Milan. But of course, when Real Madrid comes knocking, well, that's something to consider for any player. So we'll see whether Bastoni ends up in Madrid, stays at Inter, or whether Barcelona decide to sign him. Even though, again, right now, this operation is completely frozen because Flick is happy with Gerard Martin and Pau Cubarsi, and therefore he prefers that Barcelona spend their money and their energy and their effort on bringing him a center forward. Anyways, that is all. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be posting another video after this one's going to be an attack edition video. Again, I didn't do this on purpose. It's just a lot of news about defenders and attackers. But anyways, we'll see you guys in that video. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, and as always, Visca Barça.